popular touring in America.
So it was like, yeah. So people needed to know how to
And of
say
course, a lot of Americans would
say the name.
Harum.
So yeah, a lot of yeah, we say Harum. It's in our normal, average, everyday lexicon, but that's not what it is.
Oh, I always wanted to call it Harum.
So, my dad, of course, made the unfortunate mistake of calling it Harum all the time instead of Harum. So, I apologize if I accidentally call it Harum. But, yeah, okay, so, yeah. Or Harum. Anyway, yeah. Force, Squadron, music. Anyway, we are here to do this semi-well-known, definitely underrated prog rock group, British
I always
prog
call them
rock.
Procol instead of Procol.
Oh, instead of Cole, it's Call.
Because of the word protocol.
Yeah, you drop the.
I just always accidentally said Procol.
So, yeah, but that's
a retrospective
who we're covering today.
Because of the passing of Gary Brooker.
Yeah, we do this video in the honor of Gary Brooker, the one of the
Leader
main
of the
force
group, singer,
Yeah, he led the group.
player, and principal music songwriting.
Music person. Yeah. So but yeah, if you've heard their one big hit, Wider Shade of Pale. That's what they're both known for. But just a little bit of a background. The prominent band members. There was B.J. Wilson, who was on drums, and Robin Trower. They all were formerly in a group called the Paramounts, with no relation to the Paramount film picture of the same time period. But they really didn't do that hot. I think they had like one single that made the charts.
They were a good opening act.
But yeah,
they did a lot of playing.
It's not like they were bad. It was just, I mean, they weren't quite as notable. So,
yeah, at some point,
they decided to.
Mid-60s, that Gary Brooker wants to be a songwriter for other musicians.
Yeah, and they ran into this guy named Keith Reed, and he who they met with, and they got songwriting going, and they were able to work with him, and with Keith Reed they formed Procol Harum. So yeah,
he's a band member because he's lyricist.
Yeah, he's the chief lyricist. He wrote
most of those really great lyrics.
Yeah, he wrote. When it comes to the entire discography, which we'll eventually wind up covering, he has written the lyrics on all of them, basically. There may have been one or two
as all but one, I believe,
pitch-ins from Trower or whoever, but for the most part, yeah, he wrote probably 90 to 95% of the lyrics. It's a lot of lyrics over 50 years. But yeah, so I guess stampeding right in.
Yes, they were one of those groups that was extremely successful on their very first thing.
Yeah, it's the self-titled
breakout single.
The self-titled.
No, it wasn't on that album. Remember?
That's right.
This is one of those things where they didn't put the hit on the album.
It's the single before the album,
and then
the one everybody knows.
My Best Of.
Yeah. Yep.
It's the B-side. Oh yeah, Lime Street Blues is the B-side of it, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you had I think it was Wider Shade of Pale on the first one, and then Lime on the second one. But
where they play their old sound, the R&B sound.
Yeah,
pretty great.
Which is a good sound. It's a great sound.
Anyway, they assembled this group. It's different guys that would come and go at short times. They had drummers that couldn't stay.
Yeah.
Didn't they? They went through 9 to 10 drummers.
Yeah, we were always...
There were people leaving.
swapping people in and out.
Let's see. It was the name of that great man, organist Matthew Fisher.
Yeah, Fisher was there for the
great
first
organ. He was there for some years.
2 to 3, I think.
Oh, more than that. He was
3
there
to
for
4.
a while.
Yeah, but
Robbie Trower. Remember
of course.
This album,
yeah,
remember how this album says Robbie Trower.
It's got features Robbie Trower on it. Yeah,
and you forget he was there since 1967.
Yeah, he's not a very pronounced character within, but like,
He was on there for everything but the very first single, I believe.
But the very first, yeah. So, but
because then it was that album.
Yep.
That came out later in '67.
Yeah, which was the self-titled album, as mentioned before.
Yeah, love that thing.
There's
you go through everything. Basically, sounds like Whiter Shade of Pale.
Yeah, everybody knows Conquistador,
and your super cool lyrics.
Yeah, everybody knows Conquistador. Great. Had the phenomenal establishing bass line Procol Harum sound, and it's a diverse range of instruments that do their best to not like overpower or stomp on each other. You know, you got your main power trio of organ, piano, and guitar, vocals, power quadro, but yeah, it's a great wide variety of sounds that are blended really nice.
And you're proud of the fact that you get such a great example of right in between psychedelia and prog.
Yeah, it's the awesomeness of both.
This group goes right along with who those are: Pink Floyd, Moody Blues.
Yeah,
those predecessors of
ELP.
You get the proto-prog.
Yeah,
progressive pop.
So, yeah, it's
psychedelic prog rock, post-psychedelia.
The album acts is kind of like a
1967
good blend of everything in that era.
As you go through the explosion of
Yeah, so a few notables that I liked on here, Mabel. It's one of those goofy songs, you know, along the lines of like Jeremy's Bender, and
I mean, you might put some
Are You Ready Eddie
happy-go-lucky noises in there,
but, yeah. And
Repent Walpurgis.
Yes.
You're supposed to say Walpurgis.
Yeah. It's how to pronounce these is really up for debate, at least on the early ones. But yeah.
I just appreciate the creative breakthrough.
Yeah.
You have a genius lyricist. And as long as you like keyboards in your in your track,
you gotta from the outset you gotta be a big fan of keyboards. Otherwise, it's not
good to go.
Really gonna work for you unless you
When they use young Robin Trower's
the
fabulous electric guitar tone, that to me sounds kind of Hendrix influenced. But heck, at that point, what wasn't?
What wasn't? Yeah, there was Hendrix basically had control on that.
And it was pretty cool for that to never really go away.
Yeah, you could either do bluesy or you could do Hendrix.
After Robin Trower.
Yeah.
And the great Robin Trower.
Yeah, so great initial kickoff starting self-titled album by far. Good way to...
I don't remember bad tracks on it.
It was hard for me to... It was impossible for me to press skip or move the needle forward or whatever. But
classic stuff.
Yeah. So their second album, again, pretty amazing. Shine On Brightly.
Now that is, I have to, of course, apologize for only having that best of and then this thing. That's the only two Procol Harum albums I had.
But it's...
I found that first one at a record store, but they wanted, of course, like $40 or $50.
Yeah, the record store price or what? Yeah,
super duper cover.
The cover design is great.
Not actually, too. I was like, man, photographer and whoever set that up is ahead of his time.
To me, if you're gonna have one album, it would be this one.
Naked lady mannequin.
Yeah.
And then a close-up of the little motorcycle on the piano on the back.
This album also has a different cover art style for the other region.
High desert.
But yeah.
They've got their piano.
Yeah.
They at least remind you that there's piano.
There's the other part of Procol.
You forget it's 1968. And remember, this is the one with "In Held 'Twas in I."
Yeah, the great
title for a
album sidelong
epic sidelong thing. They were, of course, part of that
piece. Yeah,
your psychedelic and prog thing. It's pretty neat.
I was also a big fan of
basically delirium and madness in general.
Yeah. The madness descends further as the song goes on. But yeah, I was also a big fan of "Skip Softly My Moonbeams." That was a very unique song. For being kind of slow and only using like 3 or 4 notes, it's a very powerful guitar part of the song. Whenever the strings lead into the guitar part, very, very powerful, quite awesome. And we were wondering, wonder if we could ask the fellas, Trower at least, what the Zonophone was, because one of the songs on here is named Magdalene.
Oh yeah, parentheses, my Regal Zonophone.
I mean,
what's that?
Some punk on the internet told me that it was the initial name of their record label, but we could get Robin Trower to clear that up for us. That would be fantastic. Like the first name of whenever the record label was established back in like the early 1900s. That would be the very first name of their record label.
Okay.
And I guess Reed wanted to make a callback to that in the song. So that's what the guy said on the internet anyway. So I kind of got more of a pop feel from this album than the last one. A little less prog, a little more pop, mainly on the title track, but there's still a little bit of everything in this album.
And what were singles?
Yeah,
those are the ones I remember.
Yep. Yeah.
This was the only actual. I feel like a bad rock fan. This was the only actual one I owned in high school. That thing I found like at a flea market or something a few years after.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Does it count as a single, or was that just
best of album?
In the wee small hours of sixpence.
Yeah.
April 1968, and then Quite Rightly So was the B-side of it. Okay.
Yeah, that's
And then Shine On Brightly, I believe, was just an album track, but it's on this best of.
Yeah.
I like Quite Rightly So. That was probably my favorite track of theirs.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good song.
Yeah, I love the organ on there.
Yeah. Great organ, great piano, classic Procol Harum, fanfare. what you'd expect to hear from
Usage.
The Harums. So yeah, that the third album,
the second one.
Yeah.
Yes. What's the 1969? I believe it's the Salty Dog.
The Salty Dog. Yeah.
I mixed those up from 69 and 70, but I think it's Salty Dog.
Before we go
to Here Again.
Yeah. Before we go on to the actual album musically, what the hell is up with that album cover? The guy on the front. Are we supposed to like him?
It's kind of a Zodup illustration.
Are we supposed to like him? Are we supposed to hate him?
Is he the villain of the? I didn't even think of that.
Are we the good guys?
That's funny. Yeah. Is he the bad guy?
Are we the bad guys?
Is he a
prototype
marauder? Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah. So but I mean, I like the painting of the beach on the bottom.
There's great other tracks aside from the Salty Dog.
Oh yeah,
I'm very sorry.
This album is great.
There's having to convene Butt Club.
Yeah.
I'm tired of that track.
Yeah, we can. Yeah, I mean, I like hearing it. I won't press no if it comes up in a shuffle, but
I can appreciate the whole nautical theme. There's a whole bunch of nautical stuff in Procol Harum's lyrics.
Yeah.
But I don't want to hear that song.
It's pretty blatant.
And then whatever else was on the rest of it. I don't remember very much on it.
Yeah. Let's see.
What is on it?
This album, it's got Crucifixion Lane, with the first real demonstration of, like, Robin Trower's, like, raspy, bluesish type of voice.
Oh, yeah, he sings on one, doesn't
he? Yeah, it's a great...
doesn't he? Yeah, I forgot he had one of those kind of voices.
Yeah, this...
Rod Stewartish, kind of raspy, yeah.
Yeah, the...
I don't even remember his voice.
The other bluesish song on here, Juicy John Pink, I actually kind of like that song. Where it's like a legit... It's like a blues song. There's no room for misinterpretation of, oh, it could be blues prog, or could be blues rock.
Yes,
but
it's pretty great when they harken back to their rock and roll past.
Yeah.
They do it pretty adeptly.
Honestly, yeah, and semi-regularly, too. At least through these early albums. They like to go back to R&B from time to time. But yeah, the Salty Dog album also, generally I remember it flipping. The styles flipping a bit more than...
So I'd say you can't really blame them for being too repetitive with the piano and keyboard and slow, heartfelt British. They switch it up with some great down and dirty rockers now and then.
Yeah, and of course...
And stuff.
The last track on here, Pilgrim's Progress, continues that trend of having to have some song sound like a Whiter Shade of Pale. There's always at least one song that has to have the slow organ part.
Kind of no getting around it. Yeah, it's just part of a formula.
Yeah. So, fourth album, Home, from 1970.
Oh, yes. That's my other favorite.
Yeah.
In the... what's it called? Research?
Yeah. Stylistically, this one is quite nice.
I had never heard it, but as we went through these albums I had never heard, it was definitely my favorite of the ones I hadn't already heard.
Yeah.
Awesome stuff. A good half of that album is very, very nice.
Yeah, it's got that...
The About to Die track I love. What was the other one? Trying to, or never, it was a pretty long sentence.
Yeah.
Never trying to, something like that.
Yeah. I was a big fan of Whiskey Train. I love that song.
Oh, it's on Home.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's part of the ones I remember from a long time ago.
Yeah, Whiskey Train is an amazing song. It's got that hard blues rock type feel going on.
Count as?
With
so
the
what
fuzz.
is Long Gone Geek? My very favorite track of theirs, Long Gone Geek, because I thought it was not on the Home album.
I don't think it was. I think that may have been a single.
Okay, Whiskey Train. Oh, yeah, June 69 instead of June 70. A whole year difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was between albums, apparently.
Yeah. But,
all right.
Yeah, it was still part of the industry at the time to do a single with none of your songs from the album on it. So
yeah, if you want to hear great rock music, listen to Whiskey Train.
Yeah. But, I think that
cowbell and everything.
Yeah, you get the fuzz, you get the cowbell, you get quite literally everything. The raspy voice.
A great British hard rock song
from Trower, and I think the thing that contributes.
No, I thought it was Nicky or Gary on vocals. You got Trower guitar heroics, majorly that riff.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, that was his contribution.
Anyway, it was also on the Home album.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a solid album then.
But yeah,
one of them.
I'm pretty sure the thing that contributes to like the awesomeness of the album. This is the one that Matthew Fisher leaves the group for. So like they had to get in a new organist and
70.
Yeah.
Thought he didn't leave till like 75.
Well, I think he left and then came back.
Okay, maybe.
Like one of the mid-70s.
Yeah, he might have done that 2 or 3 different times.
But yeah, they got Chris Copping, their Paramount's organist. So it was quite literally the Paramounts.
That name is at least familiar.
But Procol Harum. Maybe the Paramounts with Reed or whoever. But yeah, so that's what contributes more to the R&B type, and the R&B and the hard rock, the hard
like
blues
it would be
rock.
hard to go back to.
Yeah.
When it's what you had originally gone by.
So, but yeah.
Great stuff.
Yeah.
The Home album.
The Home album is amazing, and
one of the most highly recommended, if not the most highly recommended of the
probably
entire run, baby.
Yeah, probably also the most entertaining album cover of the lot, if you're into that kind of thing, where they put cutouts of their heads over
their head with a collage over like illustration.
Yeah,
people, wasn't it?
Yeah, it gives you something to look at while you're listening to the album. But yeah, their fifth album, Broken Barricades.
Oh, yes.
From 71.
Is that the last thing Robin Trower did with him?
Yes.
So.
Yeah,
it is. Gone after that.
Yeah.
I remember it being less remarkable.
Yeah, I would call this the start, the end, after the end of a golden era for sure. But the start of a decline.
What's it called? Simple Sister is the
off of it. I was of course able to sing along with Simple Sister after listening to that album. But yeah, powerful opener, great guitar riffs. You get
it sucks. I just remember it being less awesome than Home.
Yeah, and the
follow type thing.
The thing that I like about this album is it's the first time you get to hear Harum Moog. They very prominently use the Moog on this.
Oh, okay. I have to go back and hear it again.
Album. It's the new-ish, different keyboard texture that you hear that you wouldn't automatically assume is a Moog.
Well, good.
Or Moog, but it is. So, but I was also a big fan of Memorial Drive. That guitar riff was quite awesome. And Luskus Delph was, just in case you were worried about them straying too far from their prog rock elements, they do Luskus Delph, which is good.
Oh, there better be something.
Yeah, it's another album that has a little bit of everything. The psychedelic tune Song for a Dreamer gave me Saucer Full of Secrets vibes.
Sure.
Only I like this better because they didn't do the bad trip sound effect, man, with all the jarring chords and the weird sound effects and the saucer that's literally supposed to go between your head or whatever.
Well, they're still supposed to do that. But I came because it was the band Procol.
So, but
if they don't have that in the album, then I'm gonna say, gosh, they don't have that in the album.
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, recommended. Very. If you want to hear what the tail end of decent sounds like, then pick up that album.
Yeah, this is as they go through the rest of their classic run.
Yeah.
It's still the early 70s. The 72 was nothing in the studio.
No.
It's that live in the Edmonton's.
Yeah, they did this live album here.
Canadian Hall.
This was actually cool to listen to.
Oh, yeah, you have a copy of it.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's basically all their older songs, but with
good stuff on there. The Whaling Stories, that's another great track off of Home. Let me see the tracks.
With a legit.
There you go, it is. Oh, yeah, and their famous cover of Conquistador.
Yeah.
Salty Dog that I don't need.
With a legitimate Philharmonic Orchestra.
And then for the In Held and 'Twas I, In Held 'Twas in I.
Yeah.
Let's make sure.
This is 19.
That they even have the rest of the
11
suite titles in this one.
Yes. Yeah.
Because this doesn't, unless it has them just on the.
Yeah, this one does.
Label. Nope. Awesome. So so the live one, you get not only the orchestra rendition thereof, but the missing.
Yeah, that one does.
Missing subsection titles for the entire suite.
Yeah, when you're supposed to know when the last part cuts off and then the next part.
Well, what they're called
comes in.
The cool titles for what they are.
But yeah, so that's their live album from 72. And then 73, their fifth album, Grand Hotel. made after Robin Trower left the band, of course, for solo stuff, and eventually the Robin Trower trio. But
it's good.
Yeah, this is it's. I would call it a great return to prog because it's very prog, especially the album title song, Grand Hotel. It's very grand. TM. It
again goes along with their whole formula of the great lyrics.
Yeah, to me, it starts to demonstrate. Oh, hey, cool, Trower album, nice, thank you. Yeah, so
I don't really know the difference. Not only did I have a rushed crash course of how to get through them all, but just kind of remember it being just kind of okay also.
Yeah,
I think it's just because I thought Home was so awesome.
Yeah,
I went through everything kind of quick. I remember it being nice. I liked the Grand Hotel song.
Yeah.
About the fine meats and fresh fruits. Or no, fresh fruits is something else.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure...
Tonight we will eat fine meats. I liked that.
Yeah, that was... The thing that I took home from this album is it starts to show what eventually British culture and rock in general would start to make fun of later in time. So it's proto-prog that would be made fun of later in time.
Oh, in the whole punk and new wave?
But that doesn't mean this album sucks, because it's quite awesome.
You talking about the ostentation?
Yeah, and I mean, just in general, the widest amount of instrumentation I've heard in a Procol Harum album yet. You got full orchestras, full horns. You got the band themselves, male backup singers.
On the horn. Oh, I didn't notice that.
Like everything and the kitchen sink is thrown at this album.
Pretty greasy.
And it's pretty good. Yeah.
People going, ooh.
Well, it was 73. Dark Side of the Moon.
It was the innocence of those days.
But yeah, I thought it was cool that they had a song with a French title in it. Toujours
l'amour.
Toujours l'amour, yeah. But, there was the one song, though, when I started asking whether it was actually a Procol Harum song or not, because we're starting the trend of not sounding 100% like Procol Harum.
Time is wearing on. Yeah, it's not 1968 anymore.
Yeah, so...
they kept going.
That For Licorice John had a great piano riff, and along with Fires Which Burn Brightly. That was an amazing...
Yeah, again, I would have to...
It was an amazing song. But yeah, time does go on, as the prog rockers always seem to sing about, with 74.
When you've made it into 74.
The sixth album,
and
I
kind
think.
Of an interesting album cover.
Yeah.
And title.
It's nice.
The birds and fruit.
Yeah, exotic.
And the painting of the birds and fruit that you get.
Yeah, it's right on the tin, as they say. It's right on the album cover.
And they had that alternate Long Gone Geek, where the upload had that cover for what was on the screen, but then it wasn't on that album, and I was like, well, was it some kind of bonus track?
Like if you got the CD version...
It wasn't live, was it?
I don't think so.
A second studio recording?
Yeah.
Anyway, I remember a couple good tracks off of that album.
Yeah.
I liked Stronger Than Samson, or whatever the Samson song was called.
The opener in the first song, Nothing But the Truth, I actually liked that. It was starting to sound mid-70s, but that's what you did in the mid-70s. So, but it was a great, powerful song.
We're lubing up.
Loud guitars.
And notice they didn't stray from the Robin Trower, Jimi Hendrix tone.
No, not really.
It's kind of funny the way they stuck with that for so long.
Yeah, like, it's part of their roots.
And you wonder whether all those different guitarists were told to try to stick with that tone.
But yeah, there's a few other notable songs on here that I got to talk about. The Idol, the Idol, I think is like near the end of side A, but it's the first prog song that I remember saying, you know, this might be a bit too long. I've never said that about a progressive rock song ever. Because all the long songs from Yes are amazing. All the long songs from Pink Floyd are great. But I remember thinking, and I'm like, guys, we could have cut this off like a minute and a half ago.
How long is it? I don't remember it being that long.
I think it's like 6 minutes long.
Yeah, that still doesn't really count. That's in that short length still.
But the thing is,
it should have been even shorter, like 3.
The thing is like how they just repeat that riff over and over again.
I remember the Idol, the lyrics. And this and the Idol.
Yeah.
Repeated over and over again.
Yeah. We could have done that about maybe a quarter of the time, and it would have been...
Wrap it up.
Would have been perfect. And there's a song on there called The Thin End of the Wedge.
Yes.
That starts off, if you ask me, kind of ridiculously and stupid.
I don't remember liking that track. Those two I didn't like.
Picture, story. That's how you start the song off.
That's what it was. It was picture, story.
Yeah.
Admirable, but not enjoyable.
Yeah. Yeah, but,
In Fruits.
Yeah, Fresh
Fruit song.
The Fresh Fruit song, I liked hearing them try to imitate dog barks. That was pretty cool.
Whole Food Boogie.
Yeah.
And your Hershey Nourishment.
Lest we also not forget Butterfly Boys, the diss track against their record label.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that's what that was, but that's funny.
For context, I guess.
They had been on Chrysalis for a while.
Yeah, Chrysalis has got the butterfly down there at the bottom. Of course, we'll have to blow it up. But
so after a dispute or split or whatever with...
They weren't satisfied with what they were getting, so they wrote a diss track.
Nice.
Against Chrysalis. So. And
Keith Reed is still with them, you know.
Yes. Yeah,
remember
still
he
with
had gone through whether or not all the way to the end except for Novum.
Multiple iterations of the band. Yeah. And different personnel changes. He's still with them.
Speaking of which, we're not done.
Nope.
We're still moving along. There's another couple of things.
So, they did a live album in 74 or 5, I think. That would be their 8th album. And it was either the best of or a live album. And then in 75, they call it Procol's 9th. Because it's the 9th album. So,
I thought the other one was the 8th. Anyway, yeah, the next one is the 9th.
You get to debate.
It shows them with those reproduced autographs on the cover.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Photo of the band members.
It was a pretty generic album cover, but hey.
And this was the whole thing where they had a whole different producer.
Yes.
Man, as opposed to how they kept doing it over and over again.
Oh, yes.
That is actually the old songwriting duo of Lieber and Stoller.
Yeah.
That they cover one of their songs on.
Yeah, it's
that was at least interesting.
The first studio album that features a couple of
I didn't know how much of a departure it was from their earlier
cover songs
stuff. To me, it was just a collection of Procol Harum songs. Again.
Yeah.
Quite well produced, very heavy on keyboards.
Yeah, it's not
involving Gary Brooker. I remember a couple great songs on there.
It's not like it's bad.
There was stuff that sounded good on there.
Yeah, what else can we say? It's a Procol.
I don't remember the titles.
So, but yeah.
In our crash course, I forgot which ones, but I remember it having a couple good numbers on it.
The first, Pandora's Box is my favorite.
Oh, yes, that's right. It was a, going back and doing one of the ones they had written
way
long
back.
Time ago.
Yeah, it's a mid-70s spin on one of their older songs.
Yeah, that was awesome. I actually remember that song from somewhere.
And, I remember as I was listening to this album, because you got Fool's Gold, you got Taking the Time, the Unquiet song, which is a rocker, but kind of a weird name. What song is quiet? Except for that whole 511 song from, Anyway.
Yeah, I don't know.
I keep forgetting. That's the cover of the Stoddard and Lieber and Stoddard song. But yeah, basically, as I was listening to all these songs, I'm like, holy crap, it sounds like a Procol Harum song. Because that last album kind of started deviating a little bit from what would be an established Procol Harum sound, if you ask me. It started sounding mid-70s and less Procol. So hearing this was great. But, yeah, they of course also covered the Beatles' 8 Days a Week.
I enjoyed that.
I wondered why.
Pretty awesome.
I mean, I'm pleased that it was on there, but I was like, why are we doing this, guys?
It's funny to do as a novelty because they were originally praised as the new Beatles after the success of Whiter Shade of Pale.
Okay.
People in the British press or whoever, somebody hailed them as.
So there was a
new Beatles.
There was a layer of humor in. Okay, I kind of get it now. That's cool. I guess I missed that. But yeah,
75. Literally
yeah,
the 9th album.
That was so. I think we skip a year and then 77.
Yeah, the end of their run is the 77
with the 10th album called Something Magic.
That's right.
Which
Same thing.
I love this album.
Same thing. Basically likable. I remember a couple nice things on it.
Yeah, like the Something Magic song was just this awesome blend of almost everything you could throw at a Procol Harum song and have
You can count on them for title tracks, can't you?
Sound amazing. Oh yeah, yeah. They wrote 10 title tracks.
Almost everything has a title track.
But yeah, I also liked, let's see, Wizard Man with that great solo, the keyboard solo, that sounded kind of spacey, but it was in the middle of a decent rock song. And the Strangers in Space, I love that song because of that whole spacey thing going on. And they did another album side length track, you know.
Oh, yes, that's which one does.
1997.
Yes, it was great
97
for them to stick to their prog guns at the end of it all.
Yeah, 1977.
It's 77, so we're way into all the new wave.
You're getting one, and it's called The Worm in the Tree.
Yeah, great stuff.
And
spoken word segments.
Spoken words. It's classically influenced. Like it's a really darn good song.
Yeah, you're proud of them that
they stuck to it.
Went out with staunch integrity.
Yeah, because it was about the time whenever punk rockers and the rock scene started shifting towards new wave. So the fact that
way into new wave by 77.
The fact that they stuck to their roots was, if you ask me, quite amazing, quite notable.
Because I believe they had elected to not keep going.
Right.
In an interview, in that one really great interview when he was, like, I don't know, it's from like 2015 or something. Way late in his career, and he said, we did decide to hang it up, our legacy, back to 77, 10 years, that we said, okay, so...
Yeah, it's
like Love Beach, except they weren't trying to.
Oh yeah. They weren't trying to be part or it or whatever was going on at the
hang
time.
it up.
So
but the end of their original run.
So they did.
And still a good album.
Yeah. Lots of great prog. Lots of, again, spoken word. Great usage of Moog. And just all around good album. I had a hard time pressing skip on any of the tracks.
That's some crazy keyboards.
So, yeah, but Hung It Up they did. They maybe did a live album or two in '78 that I don't know of, potentially, but they did not make another album through the '80s. You had a...
Yeah, when did they have the reunion? 90s, 91?
91, yeah. With the coming of their 11th album, The Prodigal Stranger. Yeah, so this one was made This one was made in honor of B.J. Wilson, the drummer who died in 91. So...
Let's see, what happened? Because that represents a real reunion. Robin Trower came back.
Yeah, he came back.
However, he actually gets to play in the album, not very much.
I think Fisher
and
threw
then Matthew
in.
Fisher did, yep.
Yeah.
So pretty great reunion.
It's a great reunion. Everybody was able to set aside their differences and do a couple of things.
And say, by golly, let's make...
On this album.
Let's make
the Prodigy. Let's make it. So.
Let's make a...
big ass 90s AOR album. Late 80s, early 90s. Whenever I first pressed play on this thing, it was greeted with the loudest, most ear-splitting, longest snare drum sound that was ripped straight out of Phil Collins' playbook.
How did we know there was going to be big drums? And adult contemporary feel.
I'll tell you.
You have a big old time again with this.
Yeah.
It's a lot like all those other guys.
Like
Stone in the Hats, or what's it called? In the Hot Seat.
Yeah, my neighbors were wondering what was going on.
And them.
I audibly wondered, as in I yelled, oh God, it's in the Hot Seat round 2, 2.0,
No!
Electric Boogaloo, whatever. Why do we have to have another album like
That
this?
shit is so hilarious.
It was entertaining to listen to. I loved it and I hated it at the same time.
And I love how it's nobody's fault.
It's not anybody's fault now.
It's the fault of
You can't...
the machines of culture overall.
Yeah, you gotta kind of be...
That are funneling everything into this damn...
In order to get...
It's going to be big drums.
Yeah.
Adult contemporary sound. Those keyboards with the...
Oh, God.
With the chimes, with their crystal chime sound, and
Yeah.
the chiming bell keyboards.
If you want to get in with the guys that have resources,
Man.
you gotta sound like this. But yeah,
It's like... Back then, when they would just walk down the street, would they be like, early 90s, early 90s, early 90s, early 90s? Remember that video? Oh my gosh! Remember that video with the bouncing with his bass guitar?
Yeah.
It's like they told him, or that they said, or somebody said, we are going to be as early 90s-ish as humanly possible.
And I don't know if it worked for
Come on, it's the 90s.
But yeah,
that was a hilarious album. You get the treats.
Yeah.
Again, it's just like in the Hot Seat.
And the cool thing is it came out...
You get one of those dance beat things, only the second or third track of the album.
It came out 2 years before that album, so we're working on material from before...
Mm-hmm. This is a 1991 album.
Black Dog, or whatever.
So you get that cool...
the groovy beat from the third track. Man with a Mission.
If you really, really came to party.
Yeah. You get the loud reverbed vocalist, Gary Brooker, in case you wanted to hear him in Emerson, Lake and Powell style.
Yeah, well, you'll be done up. We'll say, man, we pumped the finest
jams,
production equipment, usage. We had our ZX 1000.
In the the second track called Holding On commits a fair amount of oral crimes, I guess you would say. Terrible late 80s keyboards we already went over. They turned down the grand piano. Like, the grand piano sounds like small and quiet in the mix.
In the name of the drums and keyboards.
You never want to turn down the big piano, or the equal level.
Turn it back up if it was electric. Piano texture.
In a
Procol
Harum album.
You better do the 1991 stuff.
The synth drums, the Genesis keyboard stabs. Female backing choirs. It's got it all. This song called You Can't Turn Back the Page that has a pretty cool intro, admittedly, but then goes back to AOR's sound, I wanted to bust out the Zippo and like wave it to the song, because it's one of these.
Receptacle.
But yeah,
it's adult contemporary.
They even tried to do you remember the I guess it would be ELP ripping it from them. So you remember the Gritty Blues track in the Hot Seat album? It's not Street Wars. I think it was the one that came before that.
You're in for
a
lot of heartfelt stuff.
So they got another one of those in this, man. I mean, Perpetual Motion, I would say, is the most Procol Harum sounding song on the album, but it's got that ugly late 80s production sheen all over it, so it sounds terrible. And we at least get one or two pronounced old school organ sounds. At this point, it would be like 22, 23 years old, with the last song, The Pursuit of Happiness. So if you're jonesing for that organ sound,
I'm glad they included it, yeah.
It's there. It's perfect. It's there. But holy crap, I was not prepared for that.
Gotta love it.
It socked me just as hard as in the hot seat.
Yeah, but you knew it was gonna happen.
No, I didn't. I didn't know it was gonna happen.
You thought maybe they weren't gonna have the big drums?
I thought that they were gonna get back together and be
do
like,
early 90s stuff?
I thought it was gonna be like normal Procol Harum.
All right.
I was sorely disappointed.
I don't know. I don't know. I think I expected it to be 1991-ish.
Of course, at the
adult
time,
contemporaries.
The thing that makes me naive is at the time I was only 3, so I wasn't really able to pay attention to exactly what was going on back then.
The belief.
So I can hang on to my frail.
So yeah, they went along.
But yeah,
kept playing, kept going through for a lot of years. Then
they would probably
a whole bunch of live DVDs.
Yeah, they did a bunch of live stuff in the interim for another 12 years,
and not very many studio. Yeah, there's only a couple left.
Yeah, so
they went through the whole rest of the 90s.
Yeah, we didn't get another new album from them in the 90s.
Whole bunch of great live footage of them on YouTube, by the way.
But yeah, there's great stuff. Great stuff on that front. But yeah, we fast forward to 2003 with the Well's on Fire.
Mm-hmm. The thing with the parallel worlds, yeah.
Yeah, and everything's on fire. And this one's actually kind of hard to find. There are only 2 people on the entirety of YouTube that uploaded the album, and you couldn't find it on Spotify. You couldn't find it on Apple Music or whatever. Insert your favorite online store of choice. You just couldn't find it. So we're wondering, again, this may be creator shame. Probably not. It's probably a record deal thing that doesn't. But anyway.
And of course, you're not going to get a huge amount of enthusiasm on my part.
It's
I would mostly just be glad. I would say, oh, they made a 2003 CD release.
They kind of went back to their old sound, if you can believe that, for the 2003 release.
Oh, I don't know. It was a Procol Harum album.
Just a little bit, though. Like, it still had the modern production techniques and the sheen, the stuff that makes it...
It did a lot.
2000s.
I remember sounds that were not Procol Harum-ish and...
Yeah. Yeah.
Different songs.
It was a pretty alright album, all things concerned. I can't exactly easily make fun of it, so that means it's at least
the usual. I'm not gonna run over and turn it off and throw the CD out the window or whatever.
Oh yeah. I forgot to tell my backstory on that one.
It's their 2003 release.
We can, but yeah. So again, more time goes on as time is known to do.
They had that epic CD box set.
Yeah.
That I forgot if it came with bonus material or whatever. I assume so.
Pretty sure, yeah.
There will be more, or there'll still be more.
There will still be more.
There'll be more. That was it.
Yeah, named after one of the songs from back in the day. And yeah, so.
And they kept playing.
They kept doing it. They kept playing.
Remember that footage in Russia? They're in this high-class dinner hall. Looks like the what's it called?
Oh, like
press union thing with the politicians.
Yeah.
It's this high-class thing with all these people eating dinner and having tuxedos, and it's Russian.
Yeah, that's weird. Yeah, I'll have to look for that. But yeah, they go on to
long string of band members.
Yeah, they're swapping in and out.
At whatever point, Gary Brooker was the only one left.
Yeah, and
then they came up with one more studio
album, Novum. The thing that makes this notable is Keith Reed declined. He wasn't dead.
This is the one where Gary Brooker wrote his own lyrics.
Yeah, he just, Keith Reed didn't want to contribute, because I think he was doing his own solo stuff at the time. I think. But,
when was that? 2018, I believe, was its release. Or 17?
17. That's when it was. Yeah. So,
we went through most of it, but again, it was a crash course, so I didn't really get to take everything in.
To me, it sounded...
Yeah, like there was stuff on there that sounded nice.
Procol Harum, with a heavy dosage of...
I'm proud of Gary Brooker anyway.
Yeah, he's continuing this on ad nauseum and indefinitely. So
yeah, he's just a cool dude.
But yeah, a few notables on here. Last Chance Motel sounds like it belongs on the Prodigal Stranger album. One of the probably a vestigial from that one. And we got a couple of what I would consider to be hard rockers coming from a 70-year-old man.
Oh, yeah, something rocked on there.
Yeah, Image of the Beast. That was an actual darn good song. And Businessman.
Businessman track. I remember that. The Businessman song. Yeah.
The harder rocker of the time.
That's great that they could still do their occasional butt whipping rocker.
It's time, yeah. And I liked the completely unexpected lyrical content of Can't Say That, where it's a hot take on corporate culture, where you have an overbearing manager, which I'm sure we can all relate to. I didn't expect that. That was way out of left field.
Yeah, it sounds like Gary Brooker is...
But it was great.
Is... either venting on a year's worth of distaste towards... Because remember that Sunday morning?
Yes, I remember
song about being tired over the weekend?
Mm-hmm. Totally relatable now that, of course, I'm working again.
Yeah, did he feel some kind of karoshi?
Yeah, it's hard to know.
Or whatever.
But, yeah.
Thought it was cool. They brought that old logo back, remember?
They did.
Front cover illustration has the 1967 album logo.
If I remember right, it has an element from every album on the cover. Because I remember seeing the bird that's right next to the lady. I think the bird was lifted from the Exotic Birds album cover. And I think the lady's face is supposed to make a nod to, like, the first album cover. That may be my own fan theory, but that's kind of how I look at that album cover. Cool album
and
cover.
And it was, of course, long. It was a CD, which means it's either an hour or pushing an hour long.
One thing I did forget to mention, they did join in on the at least 60-minute long album craze of the 90s and 2000s. But, yeah, so not much to complain about, though, if the music's good. So, but, yeah, so, I mean...
same as all their other stuff.
Yeah.
They didn't make a actual sucky album.
No. It's like... Yeah, it's an entire lineup, an entire almost 50-year lineup of... Actually, that would be 50 years if it's 67, so yeah. Just solid album after album after album. And,
Great group for a retrospective. Yeah. Marathon.
Yeah.
Get all their albums out.
Stayed true to
re-examine their career.
Stayed true to their roots, except when they couldn't.
Enjoyed both versions of the long one.
Yeah.
Which they were kind of notable for that orchestra thing. Remember?
They were, yeah.
Remember that 72 live album is considered one of the best early examples of a group with an orchestra.
The orchestra sounded great too. Like it fit right in with the material.
That's the problem. The different ones that were done before them got kind of blamed for not being able to blend in the orchestra and the group noise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they did it good though. And going back to the Chuck the CD thing, going back to the final opinion on one Stranger album.
What?
Say the Prodigal Stranger. I forgot to drop my own personal experience of if I was a 50-year-old man back.
Oh, the 1991.
Yeah, it would be slop so good that I wouldn't even eat it. But also, if I was a 50-year-old guy,
as an old fan who remembered
91, I saw a new Procol Harum album in the CD aisle at freaking Stick It In Your Ear or something in the music shop, I would be like, oh hell yeah, man, this is awesome. I've heard about this since I'm a loyal Procol Harum fan.
Yeah, you can say.
I heard about
as a loyal fan.
I buy it.
I will excitement.
I peel the label off.
Purchase the CD.
Peel the protective sticker layer back. Put the CD in the freaking console.
Clean my CD player.
It would go
and throw it the hell out.
It would go out the window. Yeah. Yeah, I would be that bitter and angry that I paid $35 to $40.
Oh, it's always hilarious to find an example of a CD that you would. I'd put it out the passenger side. I'd go on this side and go.
Yeah.
So they wouldn't see your arm throwing it out.
But yeah, as a not original Procol Harum fan, I can appreciate it for what it is. But,
are we young enough to not feel dismay on?
But yeah, so
I didn't know who they were.
Yeah,
I didn't know who they were till reading the rock history books.
Yeah, I of course have lots of quality exposure because Dad would always have it cranked up.
Yes, don't forget my parents were not rock fans.
Coming up,
they were decidedly anti.
I remember hearing
all mainstream music.
I do remember hearing "Sweet Sister"
of secular music
coming up from the
Simple
basement
Sister
floor. Yeah, it was coming up from the basement floor because Dad would always.
He's got that in his
rocking out
childhood memories since your dad did.
But yeah, so also
say go to bed.
How can we go to bed if we can still hear the freaking music?
It'll be soundproof.
But yeah, that would be it was awesome. Never a dull moment. Yeah, but and as far as a group, I can listen to these guys until the end of my.
They have a number of great stuff.
So yeah,
of my original memories of them, this album. That they had a handful of songs that I really liked. They have a pretty great spot of progressive pop.
Yeah.
Proto-prog.
They were, basically one of the founding people of proto-prog. One of the founding.
If your first album came out in '67,
you basically count. You're in there with Pink Floyd.
Then
Yeah, Moody Blues, and
Lighter Shade of Pale came out before Sgt. Pepper's.
Yep. And I think it even came out before Piper's, if I'm not mistaken. Piper's was late '67, so. But yeah, definitely proto of the proto, for sure.
And then you can always go back and listen to Robin Trower's solo stuff.
Yep. Yeah, you can definitely do that.
Gary Brooker's Ain't No Longer Afraid to Fly. Remember? The 1979.
Yeah.
Where he is relaxing.
That was good.
In the middle of
pandemonium.
Bringing the house down.
Yeah. Literally turbulence on the album cover, and he's chill, maxing and relaxing.
Yeah, we're not short on awesome material.
Nope.
from these fellas at all.
Not at all. No.
And when did he pass away? Just in February.
Yeah, middle of February.
Of some kind of cancer?
Yeah. Passed away due to cancer. So.
Heck of a run, boys.
Yeah.
Birthday, darling. I have no presents, no fancy cake.